What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Girls Who Bet. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Erin Dolan, joined by the fabulous Liv Moods. Liv, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I have a little anxiety today, but it's because I'm traveling at like 5 a.m. So I have to leave for the airport in like a disgustingly short amount of time, if you really think about it, which is horrifying. But other than that, I'm great. Good week. Week 5 for betting. It was pretty solid. I know you had a very successful same game parlay.
I know. I
So
feel like
coming off of
honestly,
that,
it's great when you hit them. This one was it was
so
Colts
great.
+7 over 46.5. Marquise Brown anytime touchdown score. Lamar Jackson over 227.5 passing yards. Ravens 1-13 points. So it was a good one.
It was
Got
good.
a lot of questions about why would I have Ravens by 1-13 points when I took Colts +7. The reason I did that was one, it's in the winning margin. There's only 4 things that you can choose from. I thought it was going to be a close game, so it made sense to add that into the parlay, which is some plus money. But I knew I got a ton of tweets about that and messages on Instagram. So that is
Just
now
to
addressed.
clarify, that's what she was implying. Yeah, no,
That's
I
what
had
I
a
was.
pretty good week. I could have had a clean sweep this week. I went 3-1 in the grand scheme of things because I took Colts +7.5 on Monday.
Good
Sunday, I
hit.
took Chargers money line. I took
Love it.
the Bills to cover the spread +3, and then an under, a dreaded under. I took under 39.5 in the Broncos Steelers matchup. I figured two highly defensive teams, the scoring would be low. We did see Teddy Bridgewater, and I kind of thought we would have Drew Lock, so I think that made a difference. But either way, remind me to never bet an under again because I get burned by them every single week. So I don't know why I continue to do it to myself. But other than
Yeah.
that, pretty good week. So can't complain. Again, I'm on pattern. It's on brand for me to be hot, cold, hot, cold. So I feel like I'm
I
bound to
know.
have a cold week in week 6, which I hate saying, but
Well, you're going to
it
be
would
on
be on
a
brand.
fun bachelorette party anyways. So
True.
regardless, you're
So
going to be having a great weekend. I actually, side note, I was just on Facebook and I saw somebody giving their vows. I guess they had just gotten married. It was like a long 10-minute video. And the anxiety I had watching somebody stand there with a microphone. And even though we do this for a living, I could never stand there and be like
no.
professing my love in front of all these people.
It's
I don't
because
know.
you and I are not emotional people. We're just
We're
not.
just not.
We're
Like, I
just
could
not.
not stand there and just be like, "I love you so much for the rest of my
Yeah.
life."
That kind of stuff makes us cringe just slightly. So I don't think it would be great for us.
PDA, all that
Mushy
jazz.
gushy stuff, miss me with that. Seriously.
Yeah, it's just not one for it. It just doesn't sit well with me
No, me either.
whatsoever.
There was a lot. I feel like week 5, not only did we have successful betting weeks for the most part for both of us, but there was kind of a lot of stuff that also went down, a lot of
Yeah.
craziness. I know I was watching the OU UT football game, which I think most
Mhm.
Americans were watching that game because it's the Red River Showdown. Everyone gets excited about it. Now, these are two teams that have ran their mouth about wanting to be in the SEC, so the expectations were obviously very high. That game was nuts. I didn't think it could get any crazier in college football. Now, I don't bet college football, and I think last weekend's slate is the perfect reason why I don't bet college football. Everyone's like, "Why not? It's so fun. Like, it's the
It's
easiest
so
sport to
hard.
bet. It's so
No one who
profitable." I'm
is
like, "Let me pull
no.
up last week's final scores for you, and that is enough of a reason to explain why I do not watch. I mean, I do
Yeah.
watch, but I do not bet on college football." But I think the craziest thing in college football, besides UT blowing a 21-point lead to OU and losing the game, that was pretty ouch. I mean, horns
Yeah.
down, hate the Longhorns, so I don't really care. Never thought I'd say Boomer Sooner, but here I am, Boomer Sooner. I thought that was crazy. But then we had Alabama, who loses to an unranked Texas A&M. That was crazy to me, and obviously I think once I realized that Bama was down, my dad was texting me from home. He's like, "Bama's losing. Get home. Come watch." And I was like, "There's just no way they're going to lose that game. That's Bama fashion. They're going to come back and win it." I was shook. I believe that was their first loss since the 2019 Iron Bowl. So I'm sure it didn't feel great. I'm sure you
There's
have some
no way.
opinions on that loss, but that was crazy. That was
Yeah,
wild.
I mean, I think you make a lot of great points. One, college football is so hard to bet. I don't care what anybody says. I feel like even the handicappers that I follow are just getting hit left and right, not hitting things lately. That first game that you had just talked about was so hard to handicap. I was reading so many articles and I was sitting there and I'm like, -3.5. What should I do? What should I do? And I was like,
So
I should just
tough.
go with the dog with Texas, and I ended up not doing that. Worked out in my favor, but nonetheless, yeah, Bama going down against unranked Texas A&M, by far the biggest upset of the weekend. I mean, like you said, since the 2019 Iron Bowl, and just in general, seeing Alabama go down, like you said, you are watching the game at halftime. You're like, don't worry about it. It's Alabama. They'll come back. And they didn't. So, I mean, they
And this
still
is
have the
the
third
first,
best chance to make the playoffs, though. So,
which is
second best
crazy
win
to me, but even more crazy, this is the first like ex-assistant and or coworker, if you will, that Nick Saban has ever lost to, which I thought was insanity, because you would think like maybe they kind of know his coaching style, so that would be like the one opponent that could beat him more than anyone else. The fact that this was the first one, I know that assistant was feeling good on that
I'm
Sunday
sure.
watching the NFL, knowing he just handed Nick Saban an L. I mean, I'm sure it was craziness all around, but yeah,
Absolutely.
that was wild. What a
And
wild college football day. Again, UT horns down. I don't like you at all. Never will. Never have. But
well, I
yeah,
was out for the
crazy.
Penn State game and they lost, so I understand some of
I
the
know.
frustrations
Didn't
around
they?
college
Was it
football.
to Iowa?
Yes.
I kept seeing that freaking. I kept
Not gonna lie,
seeing.
I knew Iowa was gonna win that. Even when I was out, I was with all the Penn Staters. I was like, Iowa's probably gonna win. It's all
It
right.
always hurts. It always hurts to say, especially when it's your team. You're like,
Yeah. No, I wanted
I
to see
hate
them win.
I hate to say it, but I don't think they're winning this one, guys. I hate
I
that.
know. But in the NFL, also some crazy things happened.
Yep.
Three of noteworthy. Tom Brady absolutely went off. I mean, 30 for 41, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins. Not to mention, like, basically injured his thumb, which he said obviously didn't hurt him because he threw 3 passing touchdowns after that out of the 5. Also, NFL kickers, big talk of the weekend. Absolutely terrible, historic bad week. 12 missed extra points. And then Monday Night Football, Lamar Jackson. I mean, what more could you want from a man?
You can,
Absolutely
and
crushed it.
here's the thing. Let me run it back. Tom Brady being great doesn't surprise me. The guy is an animal. The kickers in week 5. Were they drunk? Were they pre-gaming before the NFL Sunday?
They're
I
at
mean,
the
I never
tailgates before
they were
they showed
tailgating.
up.
Absolutely. They absolutely tailgated with fans before their Sunday football games. I could not believe my eyeballs.
Do you think you'd be annoyed if you were on a team and like you're one? I don't know how players feel about this, but just like your job is just kick that ball, get it through, and then that's got to be so frustrating. You need it.
I'm sure it is. I do think that being a kicker though is not underrated in a sense, but
Oh,
it's
absolutely not.
people don't realize, I think, the pressure that comes with that one. Like, yes, what's hard about a kicker is they get like 1 to 5 depending on how the game ends up. They don't get that many opportunities to show what they do, but they get those like few moments that are like that could literally make or break the game and the end result. And so the pressure of that like one moment, it's like any person in any sport. Like if Tom Brady had a bad passing game, like okay, he just had a bad game, something was going on, whatever. The hard thing is that a kicker is like it's just they're isolated to that one moment. And I think
Yeah.
especially when it's like a game ending type of situation, we saw that in the Packers Bengals game. First of all, I cannot back a Packers team that nearly loses to the Bengals. And I am not dogging the Bengals because let me tell you something. I
Told
love
you it was
Joe
a trap
Burrow.
game. Told you it was a trap
I
game.
love Joe Burrow. I think he's great, but I'm just saying, I don't even. Yes, you were correct on the trap game. I think any person that Green Bay plays is officially a trap game moving forward. This Green Bay team has way too many close calls against teams that they should not have close calls against. We saw them get upset by the Saints. What was that?
Yeah.
We saw that against the Bengals. There was one other one where it was like, well, I mean, what are you guys doing? So you're crazy if you think I'm taking the Packers on the spread anytime soon. Okay. Been burned by them. I think that they're the trap. I don't know if I think that the Green Bay
I'm
Packers are the
looking up
trap
too.
team. I really do. But yeah, the kickers, God bless America, need
Playing the
to run a
Bears.
lap. Kickers
Yeah.
missing their field goals reminds me of, and it's a little different because there's more free throws, but it reminds me of the same frustration where it's like, dude, nobody is guarding you right now. You are on the line. Just make the free throw. But again, it's like one of those situations where missed field goals and missed free throws will lose you the game. So it's
Yeah.
like those crunch time pressured moments. God, like you just got to get it together. And then Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. It's weird because as great as his performance was, which it wasn't as great as his final few minutes of the fourth quarter was, because he did make some mistakes throughout that game. The Ravens let up way too many yards to the Colts, who are 1-4. I still don't know how I feel about backing this Ravens team moving forward. I know that they're the favorite right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook up against the Chargers in week 6. I don't know how I feel about that considering the amount of yards they let up to the Colts ran through them for 3 quarters. I think if you give Justin Herbert that same type of defense, he's going
Yeah.
to smush you into the ground. So I don't know how. I mean, again, it's hard with this Ravens team because it's like they have moments like that where you're like, Lamar Jackson, that's. But then you're like, wait, but that game shouldn't have.
His stats are just, I understand what you're saying totally with like, it was the sense of when are you going to figure this out during the game, but 504 yards, 4 touchdown passes, 37 for 43. It's just insane. I
But
kind of feel bad that his whole
he
team's
can't
like
do it
injured.
alone. He can't do it alone.
No,
He
no,
just
1,000% he can't.
and
I just
that's
think
what's
he
hard.
was, the MVP odds moved like crazy. He was 25-1 down to 12-1 just after that game.
And that's what's also hard for me is he did have that incredible game, but I'm still looking at this team going, like they should not have won that game. They shouldn't. They were getting outplayed in the first through the third quarter. So then I'm sitting there going, okay, would that have happened against any other team or was it because they played the Colts? It's kind of the same thing with the Chiefs when they played the Eagles. I'm like, yes, Patrick Mahomes had 5 touchdown passes, but he was playing against the Eagles. So it's a weird situation for me. Again, I am not downplaying what the Ravens did and or what Lamar Jackson did. I just don't know if I'm ready to start backing this Ravens team to cover the spread or to win outright against teams like the Chargers or whoever they may face moving forward because of that one performance. So it'll be interesting to
We'll
see
definitely get
how it
into
works.
those picks too. But
Yeah,
I mean, with
absolutely.
Carson Wentz, it's just so funny that they're 1-4 after leaving Philadelphia and that entire drama saga, and everybody's saying the Colts are going to be so great, so great. What else this weekend that was huge? Obviously, have to bring it up. John Gruden no longer with the Raiders as head coach. I feel like a lot of things kind of went crazy. More importantly, for the odds, just quickly the line kind of shifted immediately after he was fired from 2.5 dogs to 3.5 dogs. So personally, for this game with the Raiders head coach gone, I know they have an interim head coach, but just I'm staying away from that game altogether, just because I don't know how that team's feeling. And honestly, if they're feeling angry, maybe they'll play really, really well. If they're sad or whatever, maybe they won't play as well. I don't really know, but I just kind of feel like that's a game I would stay away from.
Yeah, I'm leaning actually towards Denver in this one. I think Denver's got the toughest defense that the Raiders have faced so far. And then you add on top of that the Raiders will be on the road and all this drama surrounding the John Gruden losing their head coach. I think there's just a lot that's not in the Raiders' favor. So I'm putting my faith back in a healthy Teddy Bridgewater for week 6. This is a tough defensive team in the Broncos, by far the toughest defense the Raiders have faced yet. So I like them to put some pressure on a team that's a little broken right now. I hate to say it, but I think that, amid all this drama, it's going to be tough for them to grab a win. So we'll see. I could obviously be super wrong, but that is where I'm leaning is the Broncos, which again, betting on your own team is sometimes a death wish, but I'm rolling with it.
Well, speaking of that, we'll get into the week 6 line. So I'm actually going to go to the game tomorrow. The Bucs will be in Philadelphia Thursday Night Football. Excited for that. Line opened Tampa Bay -6.5, bet up to -7. Total opened 51.5, got up to 53.5, back down to 52.5. Personally, I'm staying away from the 7 in general. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay -3.5 for the first half spread. There's also a ton of player props that I like. One center on Antonio Brown. I like him over 61.5 for his receiving yards prop. I also like anytime touchdown / money line parlay. You can find that at the bottom on the FanDuel Sportsbook if you kind of scroll in that market. Leonard Fournette and the Bucks to win plus 155. Look, I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to win. I know they're going to be at home, but this is still the Bucks, and I like that, given that it's at plus money compared to if you take him anytime touchdown score, it's going to be minus 120. And just since I have to pick something on the Eagles, Devonta Smith, since he, led last game, 25 receptions, 319 yards plus a score. So I'm going to take him anytime touchdown score plus 135. But then other than that, I want to hear your leans for this week because I know you had put out a video for that, Liv.
Yeah, I did. And obviously when you put out leans on a Tuesday, just know like those can absolutely change because it's Tuesday and there's a lot that goes down from Tuesday until Sunday. The ones I put out yesterday, though, were Broncos to cover. I do like the Panthers this week, and I know that the Panthers burned a lot of people last week, and so a lot of people are probably scared to bet them because I know that they burned so many parlays in week 5. However, this Panthers team, that was their first loss at home. Because it was such a brutal beat, I just don't see them losing at home again. I think that they are going to figure out what they need to do to win. This Vikings team, yes, has played pretty solid, but they're better. They're much better at home than they are on the road. Their road record right now is 0-2. So I actually like the Panthers. I know that they initially were the favorite, and then it's kind of a pick 'em,
bouncing around.
It's bouncing around back and forth. I'm just going to take the Panthers. If it's at +1, I'll take +1. I like them to win outright, so obviously I'll just take the money line if the value's better there. But I do like the Panthers this week. Not to mention, the Vikings have yet to face a top 5 pass defense, let alone the strongest pass defense right now in the Panthers. They only allow like 161 yards or passing yards per game. So I really like this Panthers team to bounce back from that brutal beat last week to the Eagles, figure it out, get a win at home up against the Vikings team that just has shown they're weaker on the road. And then the other one I liked was the Browns. I like the Browns to hand the Cardinals their first loss of the season. And I know people are like, that's not really that surprising because they're the favorite. You're right. But I've been red hot on the Cardinals for this entire season. So it's shocking for me to be fading them because I haven't faded them yet. I love this team. However, this Browns run game is really strong right now. And lucky for them, they're going up against it's actually the best right now. And lucky for them, they're going up against the Cardinals, who rank bottom 5 in rushing yards allowed. They also faced a pretty brutal beat to the Chargers last week. I think there were some bogus calls that hurt them quite a bit. It worked out for me because I had Chargers money line, so I'm not going to complain too much. However, there were some bogus calls. I think they're going to be fired up. They're at home. I think the Browns fan base is awesome. So I really like the Browns to get a win. I think the spread when I had it was like -3.
So it's still -3. Should that be the girls who bet best bet right now? Cleveland Browns -3.
If you wanna,
should we lock it in?
Let's do it.
I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah,
or we could go Chargers money line. We could do that one as well. I do
like Chargers as well up against the Ravens. That's another one that I like. Yeah, I don't know. And
we'll put out a graphic of which one we choose.
A little hot take for you. And I haven't gathered my numbers to back this. So before anyone in the chat is like, tell me exactly why you like this and tell me now. Okay, everyone relax. I like the Jaguars to get their first win against the Dolphins this week.
Wait, that was the first pick I was going to give.
Yeah, so I know that's kind of crazy. I was literally getting my toes done today, sitting with my friend who loves to sports bet, and we were kind of going through the slate, and we stopped at the Jaguars-Dolphins game, and I said, something in me right now is screaming Jaguars are winning this game. I think it is their time. They are bound to win at least a game. When you're looking at this QB matchup, I like Trevor Lawrence a whole lot better than Jacoby. Is it Brissett? I don't know how to say his last name. I get made fun of. I like Trevor Lawrence here. I like this team to shove it up Urban Meyer's butt and get a win and hopefully find some motivation, especially at home. So I'm freaking riding with the Jags to get their first W.
This game's actually over in London. So the reason I was going to say take the Jags in this one over in London is because
they're not at home. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I did a documentary at Penn State on fans of the NFL in London, and they identify with the Jags the most. That's one of the biggest points. So given that it's in London, the Jags are so loved there.
Kind of home field advantage.
Yes. Like I could see them getting the win. And speaking on that, if you go to the season specials, the Lions and Jags to go 0-17, if you take that at yes, it's plus 1,600. But you can also bet on which team is going to get their first win first. So for Detroit, it's minus 180. And for the Jags, it's plus 160. So I like the Jags at plus 160 to get that done. I also like to take them on the money line, plus 154 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's see who Detroit's playing quickly. Oh, Detroit against the Bengals. I still like the Bengals in that
I do too. I like Joe Burrow right now. I'm really hot on Joe Burrow. So
and then in terms of the Cowboys, minus 3.5 against the Patriots, I think that is the trap game of the week. As we know, the Cowboys are the best team against the spread, 5-0. For some reason, I absolutely hate that line. I feel like it should be 5.5. It is just the Patriots. I don't understand. So for that reason, I am staying away. And also staying away from the Seahawks Steelers. No longer, we don't have Russ under center. So
yeah, no, I totally agree with you saying, you know what I think we should do actually? I think we should hammer the Jaguars money line as our girls' best bet. Girls
we
who
could do it.
bet because
then we'll know if it cashes real early.
Exactly. And if we need to rally and come up with a second one, we can do that.
Yeah.
But I say we ride with that because I really do. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump ahead of you because I feel like I've been talking for forever. That was
you're good.
You had. And you guys, we did not discuss this before the show. I did not know we didn't write it down. I had no idea what she was picking. She had no idea what I was picking. But yeah, let's go Jags. I like that win for them. To really just like, I think at this point, there's a part of me that just feels for this Jags team right now. The decision that their coach made is not their fault. And now they're kind of the team that's,
I kind of think he's done at the end of the season anyways. I just think it's like not working.
It's just not working. It's that awkward conversation you have with the boyfriend where you're just like, this just isn't it.
Yikes.
I'm sorry. It's just not working.
And the best part about it is we know that Urban Meyer has to get back on the plane to go back across the pond.
Ouch.
He has to.
Ouch.
Shout out to Sabino in the chat saying, thanks for the show, ladies. Greatly appreciate it. Stephen D also saying, I agreed. I got Denver minus 3.5 as soon as I heard of Gruden leaving. That's honestly, sometimes when I see news break, I run to the book really, really quickly and try to grab the line. But usually sometimes they beat me a lot of times and they're locked. Someone else, Stephen D also said Chargers money line. Yes. So a couple people in the chat agreeing with some of the picks that me and Liv are getting, but just in general, there are so many sports going on. We have hockey started. If you're a hockey fan, please shout out what you like for tonight. I know that we can kind of get into a little bit of that. I don't love to bet on hockey. It's not one of my favorite sports to bet on, but I think you can find a lot of plus money if you follow some of the trends. Also, thick of the MLB playoffs. We got a big game 5 tomorrow, Dodgers, Giants. Me and Liv are not too into MLB, so we're not going to get crazy into this. But, of course, AL Championship, we have the Red Sox versus Astros. Houston right now favored to win the series, minus 153. Houston beat the White Sox 3-1. Red Sox beat the Rays 3-1. And then for the NL Championship, Atlanta beat Milwaukee 3-1. And then the winner, of course, of the Dodgers-Giants will then play Atlanta. I hope the Giants win. I want to see the Dodgers knocked out. Nothing against them, but the Giants need to make this run. And did you see that on TikTok today, Liv? Because I feel like you're always on TikTok too. Gabe Kapler, Gabe Kapler, right? From the Phillies. He was trending. Every girl was posting him.
No.
I was crying. I'll just send it to you.
Is he one of the coaches?
Yeah, and he's super, super good looking.
With his glasses?
Yes.
Woo! Wait.
He used to be from the Phillies. And then we got rid of him. But
wow. Yeah, he is a hottie.
Yeah, and then other than that, we have the WNBA finals is going on. Sky versus Mercury. Mercury right now minus 4.5, total 169.5. Sky took that first game, but there's so many things to bet on right now. WNBA, MLB, NBA, NFL, college football.
There's a lot.
Do you feel like ever your head sometimes when you're trying to decide like where do I dedicate time today and research? Do I want to go this way? Do I want to go that way? It's like when everything's going on, it's just consuming.
That is me every single day. Like I wake up and do you ever, okay, this is how I have felt lately. I kind of feel like I'm in tunnel vision. Like I don't feel like anything outside of work exists sometimes. Like I forget that there's like, and then I find myself getting really anxious and like really exhausted. And then I'm like, oh, like I should go outside and get some fresh air. Like I should go for a walk maybe, or go grab a coffee or something. Like I just like
No,
sometimes
I know
I
what you're
zone
saying.
in and it's like, oh my
I
God.
have to get in that zone, and I'm only in the zone for when I wake up like 2 hours, and then the rest of the day I have to like fight myself to stay focused because I'm sitting here alone all day, so I have to try not to get distracted. But sometimes I just feel like when I get so overwhelmed, I end up not doing anything because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much
Yeah.
going on, I can't focus.
No,
But
totally.
especially with the NBA coming back, I know you and I are going to be like jumping on that. And
Well,
so am I.
speaking of the NBA, someone in the Twitch chat said, Liv, how do you feel about the Mavericks versus Hornets tonight? Mavericks won 127-59. All I have to say is this preseason play is very interesting. I know that there was a graphic posted of the Bucks. They had scored 81 points in the first half and everyone was like, "Wow." And the reality is the Bucks had been playing their starters and the other team hadn't been. So it's like this just to me isn't a fair assessment of what these teams are going to look like, especially
Mhm.
when one team's playing their starters and the other team isn't. I didn't really watch this game,
I
so
don't
I'd be
really factor in
interested.
preseason in
I
general.
don't either. I
I don't
really,
even
I
watch
think
it. Honestly,
if
it's so terrible of me
anything,
to say.
like, okay, great example of this. The Mavericks won 127-59. Luca got only had 10 points. That's super bizarre for him. On the other side of the
Favorite
ball,
to win regular season MVP, by the way. Luka
is he?
Doncic. Yes, he is.
Is he? LaMelo Ball had 4 points and only played 11 minutes. So it's just to me like McCall Bridges only played 12 minutes. So for me, it's just not a fair assessment of what we're going to see in the regular season. So I try not to
Yeah.
put too much energy and
Mm-mm.
thought into the preseason. Um,
Actually,
that
I have
being
a
said,
question
though,
for you. Because I
yes,
feel like sometimes I've been seeing it more so recently, and I had people tweet at me. And again, like everybody is kind of new to betting in a certain type of way, but some people have been tweeting at me these bet slips of just taking all the favorites for, let's say, like NBA preseason. I've even seen it for NFL. Is that ever something that you would consider doing, or would you stay away from doing that? Because personally, I don't do it and would never put all of the favorites into one parlay just because I assume one dog will always win. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I've been getting a lot of tweets recently with that.
I would not, because I'm more so an underdog better than I am a favorite better. For whatever
Mhm.
reason, whenever I bet favorites, there's a
If
part
they
of me that's
lose, you
like,
feel terrible.
you
It
feel
just
horrible, but
it's
at
way
least
worse.
if an underdog doesn't, and I think you have some cushion too. Like I always feel better about this underdog could keep the game close than I do saying a favorite could blow this team out of the water. For whatever reason, I'm
Mhm.
much more comfortable looking at the underestimated or the weaker team and saying they have the tools they need to keep this game close rather than depending on superstars to blow other teams out, because we've seen it before. These superstars come out on the night that you have their over in points, they score 10 and you're like, what the hell's going on right now? I'm not sure what's
Yeah.
happening. So I typically don't lean towards the favorites like that. I never have, and I don't find it fun to watch games when you're just rooting for the team that's better. Like nobody
Mhm.
wants to do that. They're
Yeah,
favorites for a reason, like nobody wants to do
totally
that.
agree.
So I would
Different
rather
strategies for sure.
yeah,
Like you
and
could
there
always
is
look at the first half spread if you know a player is going to play the first 2 quarters and they're probably going to sit him because why play the second
right.
half if they are blowing them out of the water, and that's when teams usually double digit dogs will then backdoor cover. Like
I'll
there's so
tell you
many
right now,
strategies into the NBA.
I'll tell you right now though, there is a team, and you and I have talked about this before. There is a team I'm very excited about watching, and it is the Grizzlies. And let me tell you why I'm excited about the Grizzlies. Their talent sometimes, and this is how I kind of go with player props as well when I'm betting the NBA, because I have much more success betting the NBA than I do betting the NFL. I've been pretty successful with the NFL, but the NBA is definitely my strong suit. I'm excited about this Grizzlies team
Mhm.
because their talent is very dispersed throughout this roster. It's not like on a game to game they're depending on the Ja Morant of the team to hold down the fort and do all the work. Yes, a player like Ja Morant is crucial to this squad. However, you've got all these guys. I said it I believe I said it when we were talking about the futures bets for the NBA. A guy like
Mhm.
Jaren Jackson Jr., he really stepped up in the playoffs. He had a lot of clutch 3-point shots that kept the Grizzlies in the games. that's a player that you wouldn't necessarily expect or put all your faith into to help this team win. For whatever reason, their chemistry feels right. This feels like a team that just works really well together. And I can't explain it, but from a chemistry perspective, I feel like they have a lot of secret weapons that are maybe underestimated still, and that's going to help them progress very far in this season. So I'm excited about this Grizzlies team. I really am. So we'll see. I could be off on that. They actually are playing right now. It's 96-93 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter up against the Pacers. So
Jared Walker wrote in on YouTube, Hawks to the finals. I'm calling it. It's a sore subject after they beat the 76ers in game 7. But looking at the NBA champion outright betting market, the Nets are the favorite right now, plus 250. Lakers behind, plus 400. The Bucks, plus 650. Everybody else is 12-1 or greater. Personally, for this type of market, I think at this point in time, you take the long shot. You can bet the futures throughout the entire season. I wouldn't just take the Nets and Lakers because the book thinks based on these odds that they could potentially win it. We saw what happened last season with the Bucks winning. It's not easy to repeat. So for me, I'm kind of out on the Bucks off the bat. But there's a lot of great players that are coming up. I mean, the Suns played absolutely awesome. Utah Jazz will be good. Warriors will be good this year. They're getting players back. And then when you kind of look at that market compared to some of the other futures markets, like the player markets, for example, regular season MVP, something to factor in is just, will this person play on back-to-backs? And also, will this person potentially be injured? I love Embiid to death, and he should win MVP. I'm sure you can make an argument, but the man gets injured a lot, and he misses a lot of time. So things just to factor in. But again, I personally don't like betting futures that often, so I'd rather just, bet per game. But I'm so excited for the NBA. Sabino asked you, Liv, personally on YouTube, who do you got winning the title? And do you even have somebody at this moment, or are you just going to kind of feel it out throughout the season?
My championship matchup was between the Lakers and the Nets, kind of when I was just thinking about it like a few weeks ago. This Nets drama with Kyrie, it needs to get settled, and it needs to get settled fast, because I am a firm believer that skill on a team is just as important as the chemistry of a team.
100%.
And we have seen Kyrie Irving do this before. His selfish behavior comes in, and he's the bad apple that ruins the bunch. It's just the truth. His selfish mindset, he is not of the mindset that is best for the team. He's just not, and he hasn't been for a while. So if they can't get this ish figured out, I'm a little nervous about putting money on this Nets team. I think the Lakers are stacked. Sneaky team I like this year, and not so sneaky because they've got great talent, didn't really do well last year. I'm keeping my eyes on the Warriors this year. I think they've got a really great roster. And I think their roster's deep as well. This is a team that knows how to utilize their weapons, but also kind of, I don't know. I'm excited about this Warriors team again. Preseason's tough. I know they're 4-0 in the preseason right now. That's really not what I'm going off of, because the preseason is very confusing and it doesn't hold a ton of weight for me. However, I think this Warriors team is exciting to me, and I'm going to look into it a little bit more and try to figure out exactly, how they would match up with other teams, especially in their conference and whatever. But I'm liking the Warriors this year for whatever reason. So I might, like you said, I was going to say going with a long shot, like you just said, which I think is a very smart thing to do this early on when you're looking at the futures market. I would consider doing a little sprinkle on that plus 1,200 for the Warriors. So
yeah,
something to think about.
No, I definitely like that. And you made a great point about chemistry. And I feel like obviously this kind of goes back to the Ben Simmons drama. He ended up reporting. Players are saying, oh, he doesn't need to give an apology, X, Y, and Z. There's no way that he walks in the door and you guys are just like, you know what? It was totally fine, everything you did. Like it's definitely kind of a media ploy right now to just kind of settle everything. Like just get in the gym, shut up. This season's about to start. He's still in COVID protocols right now. Clearly lack of communication. Same thing goes back to Kyrie Irving. But a point I wanted to make about the Nets is obviously, yes, on paper, it looks like they're going to win at all times. But we saw this last season when KD would sit some games, Harden would sit some games, then Kyrie would sit some games. They never really played together, and that was the main problem. So when you go into the postseason and you're waiting for those clutch shots or those last minute things, obviously KD's foot was just too big in that game 7 against the Bucks when, he could have gotten that 3-pointer. But when it comes down to it, I think the teams that are best coached and, have the best chemistry and get hot at the right time, is definitely something to kind of take into account. Obviously, we have a
Yeah.
lot of stars that are coming up though. Like, I mean, Trae Young for the Hawks,
Yep.
Luka Doncic. I mean, Devin Booker. There's so many cool stars that I feel like in the next couple of years are just going to explode and be bigger than some of the other players right now.
I think this is kind of a hot take because I think there's quite a few people that would still argue the Suns are going to be good, but I think last season was kind of their peak. And I don't
Well,
mean
they
to
got
say-
hot in that COVID season when they were playing in the bubble, and then they brought it in, and then they got hot again.
I don't know if we'll see that same caliber and that same level from this Suns team again. I could be wrong, but they're not a team that I look at from last year and go, "Oh, this is their year." Like they're gonna fix their mistakes. I just don't feel that way. Chris Paul's playoff performance was abysmal, and it's really sad to me because I love him and he's a
Remember,
veteran.
did you say that he was going to be MVP? Because I did, of the playoffs. If they
Yes,
had won.
I did. Yes,
I think we both were on that. I kind of remember you
Yes, I
tweeting a
did.
lot about that. Okay, yeah. We were both on that, and then he was like terrible.
It was
And
hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch.
When
Which made me
Devin
sad
Booker at
'cause
the end, when they didn't win, he was just like, damn. I was like, oh, I kind of felt that in my soul. That sucks.
that actually hit me pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I was like, "Ugh,
this
poor
just
Devin
isn't a
Booker."
team that I think is there yet. I think I don't know. For whatever reason, I just don't think they're there
Know who
yet.
I love?
Yeah.
Low key, the Heat. I know they got swept by the Bucks, but I love Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry,
have
Tyler
so
Hero.
many
They won't be
weapons.
injured. They do. And it's just like it's going to be they're 25-1 right now. They're behind the Nuggets. Actually they're with the Nuggets. They're both 2,500.
Yeah, actually Motive Jag in the Twitch chat said he likes the Nuggets and the Heat at
Yes.
both at 2,500. He
I
said.
do like both of them.
I actually would sprinkle, especially at plus 2,500. I
well,
think
with Nikola, yeah, if they get everyone also,
That's
you know, the people are
a
talking
little
about the
$10
Bulls.
sprinkle gives you 250. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, right? It's just $10. It is what
See,
it
your
is.
Grizzlies are plus they're 85-1 right now. The Bulls are 60-1. People are talking about the Bulls a lot.
I don't know if the Grizzlies are a team that I would take to win.
No. Obviously, I'm sorry. I was just mentioning the outright market.
You're good.
I was passing
I'm just saying I think that is a team that I would. One, I love them against the spread, and I think that they're a team that you can really look at a lot of player props because they have players like a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. because he's not super, he's not the guy that they're putting all their, trust into every game. Maybe he's not starting every game. He's still going to get points on the board, and likely his line is going to be pretty low, considering we didn't see a ton of him last year. So it's just they have so many different players on the team that I would put my money on. So more just from a betting perspective, I think this Grizzlies team has a lot of smart moves in terms of putting money down on them and cashing out. So
then two of the other teams that are kind of up there, just to mention quickly, the Clippers, we didn't really talk about them, 16-1, the 76ers 20-1. I feel like we've beaten the dead horse with the 76ers. I don't see them winning at all. I thought last year was their chance to shine. They got the number 1 seed and it didn't end up working on their favor. As for the Clippers, I mean, Kawhi Leonard and whatnot, I don't know.
I don't see the Clippers at all. I don't.
Yeah,
I really don't.
It.
Which stinks because they've got a good team. I just don't see it. I also, for whatever reason, I have never really been hot on this Mavericks team.
I mean, Luka's unreal, but the team
he's unreal, but I don't.
Is like, yeah, you can't. One guy can't win it all.
He can't do it on his own, and that's the biggest thing that I've always thought with this Mavs team. But yeah, that's what's tough for me there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, preseason NBA. I kind of view it with a grain of salt a little bit. I don't really take a ton of consideration into the preseason. So I'm excited for the regular season.
Since it just dawned on me, the first regular season game is next Tuesday, so we won't have an episode before that. We have the Nets versus the Bucks. Nets right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook -116 on the money line. Bucks -102. Basically a pick'em game at this point. Total 240.5. I am taking the Bucks in the first game. What are your thoughts?
Who's it up against?
Nets versus Bucks, first game of the season, which will be a big one, just because that game 7 everything had happened. But the Bucks are getting their rings. They're at home. They're getting their rings, and then I feel like, and then you don't have Kyrie Irving for the Nets.
Amid all this Kyrie Irving crap too, it's going to take this Nets team. If the Nets have a chance post all this drama, all this time they're wasting on trying to figure out if one of their best players is going to be on the court for the season. I think that it's going to take this Nets team some time to settle in and figure out, okay, we either have Kyrie or we don't have Kyrie. This in and out, wishy-washy
Honestly, I think
crap.
it's better with just playing, honestly, like with the mentality he's not playing, which is just the most absurd thing of all time. And he's making a stance on something that's totally different than what we thought he was, which we just recently found out in the last couple of days. But yeah, I think the Bucks.
I would definitely, I think that can be our girls who bet first NBA bet.
Oh, actually, you're right. Girls who bet best bet, the Bucks.
I like it.
Money line, minus 102. I do like it. I also would probably just take the over in this one, 240.5. Say, take it.
It's so crazy because I've been in football world, so hearing 240, I'm
yeah,
like,
you're just like,
ew,
wait, all I hear is like
the
46 to 52.
I'm like,
and
oh
then you
my
hear
God, that is psychotic. But it's so, I mean, it's crazy that we're back in the NBA swing of things and there's points happening every 5 seconds. It's crazy. But
we also have the Warriors Lakers, I just realized as well. But that game, of course, 10 p.m. It kills me on the East Coast time. But the Lakers are on the money line minus 220. And then, I mean, I don't have a pick for this one just yet, just given that I just realized this. Lakers minus 5.5. I honestly think I'd back the Warriors in this one just because it's game one and you just never know. I feel like.
Where is that game played at? Who has home court?
LA, Lakers. But I mean, both Cali teams, obviously.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I think the NBA is going to be exciting. And Erin and I are going to have some very fun NBA content that we're cooking up. We've got some fun ideas for the NBA season. So if you guys aren't excited, get there.
I almost feel like you need to be excited for one sport in ways. Like, you can't be great at everything. Like when we talked about today, like one of the topics, sports. Like if I went and bet the WNBA and NHL and MLB and college football and NFL and all that, it's a lot.
It's a lot. No, it is a lot. So that's why I'm fully transparent about, I don't bet the MLB and I don't bet the NHL. So when people DM me and say, hey, Liv, what's your opinion on this baseball matchup? I'm like, if I give it to you, it's going to be fake. So I'm not going to give it to you because
I was looking at some things for this postseason and I'm like, if I go and post this, people are going to be like, hey, you didn't post really any picks for the entire season. And now in
all of
the
a
playoffs,
sudden you want to get involved.
All of a sudden going to be like a capper for this. I'm like, I do want to get involved, but I just won't tweet it out because
right,
that's
exactly
not a good look.
Exactly. No,
and NBA, man, we're gonna be firing back and forth.
Woo! It's gonna be fun. Woo. I get a different type of fire in me when the NBA.
Liv also has the best shoe game lately. We could talk about that too.
My shoe game is pretty fire lately. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I get
the NBA, I feel like
every time I get paid, I'm like, okay, what pair do I want this month? And I'm telling you, StockX and the GOAT app, you can get fly shoes for not as much money as you think. I know people like see my shoes and they assume I'm like balling out, and I'm like, no, not really. I
feel like only sneaker heads would know. Like, yeah, but to the average person, yeah. But also, it's so funny because go ahead.
I buy youth-sized shoes, which are a fraction of the cost. I figured out what my youth size was, and
I've been trying to find it, but nobody will let me try on shoes in Philly.
Well, what's your normal shoe size?
Women 7. No, women 7 in Jordan 1s. Because I tried them on one time, but I need a youth size.
I am a 7.5, and I wear a 6. So you would like to be a 5.5. Yeah, they typically say go down.
I don't understand why in Philadelphia. I mean, you need a vaccination card to get in anywhere, but like I can't even try on a pair of shoes. I've walked in and been like, "Hey, I really need to find out my Jordan size to go and GOAT." And they're like, "No, you're not going to buy them from here." And I'm like, "Yeah, these are hideous. I need to go and get the cool ones."
Yeah, those are ugly. Of course, I'm not.
This is so terrible. But my mom was like, "Let's do Christmas gifts soon. Just like pick out what you want. I want to get everything out of the way." And so I sent her a pair of J's from StockX, and she was like, yeah, like these are like $350. You're not getting these. And I was like, damn, come on, Mom.
Well, that's tough, Mom. This is all I want right now. It's so funny. I actually started building if you look at like my last like 4 or 5 Instagram pictures, it's me in sweatpants and a nice pair of shoes.
That is all you need.
What
that is
I wear.
Style.
Like this outfit, I'm wearing this cute little bodysuit. It's tucked into a pair of sweatpants. And this is how I dress to go out. It's how I dress to go to brunch. Like,
Same.
I love
Sweats
to
and
dress up
everything.
a good pair. To me, sweatpants, nice shoes, and hoops. And you've got yourself an outfit. Okay.
I
Obviously, you
agree.
still need to find a shirt. Please wear a shirt. But a pair of hoops, a nice pair of kicks, and some sweatpants, and I am set to
I
go.
feel like I was before you jumped on tonight, me and Rob were kind of talking about this, and I said that I'm like the worst person for the clickbait of stuff lately because I keep buying sweatpants over and over again because I just put my my finger on the Mac thing that's kind of like autofills everything. And
Oh, Apple Pay is a dangerous
you would
situation.
never, I feel like you would never find me and Liv ever going to like a brunch looking girly. Just like you never see us at the altar with some
I'm going to this bachelorette. Let me
Our
tell you, I'm
Bitmojis are who we are.
so swagged out. I'm here to tell you, I'm looking at the stack of clothes because I'm going to Naples, Florida. So it's like a very girly. My friend that's getting married, she is more girly, and all the people there will be like, in cute shorts. And I'm trying to pack for this trip, and I think that's where half of my anxiety is coming from. Is I'm looking at the clothes, going, that is not Olivia Moody on the floor right now. And that suitcase right now is a fraud. So I mean, but it's hard.
You got
to,
like the
dress.
puffy sleeves, the
I
flowery.
literally, oh my God, dressing cute is just not something that is in my life right now. It's just not. Dress up a pair of sweatpants and I am golden. That is all I need in my life, and I'm good to go.
That is always the perfect vibe.
Always the mood.
Oh wait, somebody on YouTube just said sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on. That's when they're prettiest. I hope they don't take it wrong. So weird story. A guy texted me that in 7th grade who I really, really liked. And he ended up breaking up with me, but long story short.
Also, that is something.
Sweatpants, hair tied is a line I will never forget.
I will say that one thing that actually kind of drives me nuts, this is like a little random thought, but it kind of goes to what you just said. I know that guys mean it as a compliment, but when I have just put on a full face of makeup or gotten my lashes filled and people are like, I actually think you look better without your lashes. I'm like,
you better
I
damn
just
well
paid
compliment this makeup that I had to put on.
Literally, I'm like, I just paid however much money to get my lashes filled. You telling me you preferred them when I was practically bald on the eyes does not make me feel better about putting my face out there. Like, don't say that to me.
The worst is the nail color. I will get nail and be like, I don't really like that color. I just paid $60 for these nails, so just don't say anything.
Just be quiet.
Just
I'm a very neutral nail girl. It's either ombre,
mine are so bold,
black, white, or French. That is what I will.
Mine is like
switch it up, but it's
orange.
for the most part pretty. And my toes are always white. I just got my toes done today. They're always white or black. I'll sometimes switch it to black, but white always.
Oh man,
I'm weird.
Someone just asked. Dave said dunks or ones.
Ooh, that's tough. I find myself preferring dunks lately.
I feel like they make your feet look longer though.
Well, that's what I like about youth sizes. Is I feel like
sometimes I see the models wearing them and I'm like, dude, your foot looks this long when you're like, like they're always stepping to the side and like your foot.
I think I prefer dunks only because with the I think in the winter I'll probably like my ones more. But during the summer when it's hot, I don't love wearing like shorts with like high. I don't love that look for me personally. So because I'm going to be wearing sweats every day of this fall and winter here in Colorado, I'll probably wear my ones quite a bit, but I've been liking my dunks. So we'll see. I'm going to definitely order a couple new pairs of shoes. So we'll see what my hands
just said. I just bought my 100th shoe to add to my collection. That is,
dear God,
insane.
Dear God,
pure insanity.
Yeah,
guys, drop any Q&A that you guys have into any of the chats. We'll answer it before we wrap up. I think we agreed. Our girls who bet best bet. I feel like we picked like 10 different things. So
Jaguars
simmer it down. No, I thought we said that we were going to do the NBA.
Yeah, but that's next week.
No, because the game's Tuesday, so Wednesday we'll have a new best bet.
Well, we should do an NBA one and an NFL
one. We'll do an NBA one. We think the Bucks money line, Jags money line, plus money as girls who bet best bet. It's happening in London. We have inside information because I was there in Wembley and everyone loves the Jags.
We have top secret information, and here it is.
I went over
London
there.
loves
There
the
was a
Jaguars.
documentary, and they love the Jags. London people
No,
love.
I'm
love,
telling
love the Jags.
you, I think that Urban Meyer should lose his traveling privileges. I think he should watch the game from his couch.
They
Okay,
should leave him in London and be like, "Good luck getting back."
this is what you like to do anyway. I mean, you did it in Ohio, so have fun. No, I like the Jags. I really do.
Wait, kind of side note, there's this girl on TikTok that I don't know if I'm blanking on her name, but she does these videos and her husband is in the NFL. And the one video they recently did was how fast is he home after a game and how immediate it was. It was like basically within the hour they get on the flight, they're back home within 2 to 3 hours, depending on where they're from. So I was thinking in that time period, like, did Urban make the decision before he went to the game or that quick, like, get on the plane in an hour? Like,
he
off
had to
the
have
field,
made it
shower,
before
go.
the game.
That's
He had
what
to
I'm
have made
saying.
it
It had to
before
be
the game to organize
premeditated.
all the like who he's meeting up with. It had to have been pre-planned. It was premeditated, which makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah, it was definitely
Like the fact that you were thinking ahead of like, regardless of whether we win or lose, I'm staying and hanging out with my buddies. Like, talk about
That's
unprofessional. Talk about unprofessional.
You knew that was like circled on his calendar, Thursday Night Football. Like, I can get away with this.
He literally, instead of putting on the calendar Thursday Night Football, he put bar with friends. Like, did you forget you have a game tonight? Actually, like, what's going on?
Urban Meyer.
Any questions in the chat, y'all? Someone said, "Liv, are the Nuggets your team since they're from Denver?" Yes, they are.
Yeah. Me and Liv are going to try to get to some NBA games, film some content, and we'll try to get some good stuff. We need to do that. We're trying to make a schedule right now. It is in the works.
It is in the works. And I think we could do like some traveling vlogs and / girls who bet episodes and whatnot. Hopefully we can get that figured out because that would be electric.
Absolutely.
Times
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning into episode 6. We'll have episode 7, which is crazy to think about, next week. We have a special guest. I won't say who it is just yet, but we are excited to have her. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, have a great week betting. Liv's going to go on a great bachelorette. She's going to have a good night. She's not going to be nervous and anxious about traveling.
I know. I've got to just let it go. I think I'm like anxious right now because I'm trying to figure out if I should get sleep or not.
Yes, you get sleep before you go to a bachelorette party.
No. But I have to leave for the airport at 3 a.m.
Oh, you're a night owl.
So
whereas I could go to bed right now and then
by the time I shower, I have to straighten. I have to do my hair. That's going to be about an hour and a half process. Then we're pushing it around like 9 or I still have to eat. So then we're around like 10 o'clock.
9:30 here, which is just so weird.
So then it's like close to 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30 by the time I get everything packed up and get in bed. At that point, like you're just teasing yourself with like a 4.5 hour. I just don't know if that's even like, that might hurt me more.
There was only one time I pulled an all-nighter since high school, and it was the night coming back from Denver. And I was so drunk and awake at the airport, and it was like 6:30, and everybody was like having coffee and drinking, reading a paper, and I was like, I feel so uncomfortable. Luckily, I had a mask and a hat on because it was.
I know. I think I just need to like get everything finished. I've literally got all my outfits folded and laid out in sections for like my brunch outfit, my boat outfit, my dinner outfit. Like it's all out. I just need to like get it in the suitcase, go eat some dinner, and maybe drink a little bit of wine to calm down, and then shower and go to bed.
It'll be good. All right, guys. We will see you next week for episode 7. Peace.
Special guest next week. Stay tuned.